Hey everybody, I'm back with a new movie spoiler review, and today I'll be covering the movie Cursed, starring Christina Ricci and Jesse Eisenberg. And looking back on this movie, I couldn't believe how many stars that weren't big deal then that is a big deal now. And there's definitely some more controversy behind this movie than I even realized. But this is a werewolf movie, and it's been a minute since I covered a werewolf movie. And this one I wanted to talk about last year, but couldn't fit it in my list of movies I wanted to talk about. So I figured I'll do it this year for the month of October. Now, this is directed by the great, the late great Wes Craven, and he was definitely the right choice to direct something like a classic horror monster film like a Wolfman movie. Of course, it's not called Wolfman, but it's still brilliantly titled Cursed. But there's been situations behind the scenes, some of which, looking back on it, kind of makes more sense than we realize. It's a Miramax film, and of course, produced by the Weinsteins, and they all know what happened to those guys. But beyond what we know, what they was going on with their personal lives, there were some issues because this wasn't, this didn't do well at the box office when it came out in 2005. We had like a budget of 38 to 100 million at the time, and at the box office at that time, it ranged from 25 to 29 million at the box office. So it didn't really do all that well. Now, I had like a soft spot for it growing up. Now, as much as y'all know, I'm not much of a horror person, but I give those I do see their just due. And the werewolves are my personal favorite type of horror movie monster. You know, with like vampires, just neck and neck with those. And part of the problem, at least, well, there's two parts of the problem. One being the fact that there was so many reshoots at that time that because it had to be re-edited to make it a PG-13 rating, which was like a terrible decision. Not that dissimilar with the whole situation with like the Venom films, when it should clearly be R-rated, but I'm not sure they was trying to gain more people to go to the theater to see it to get more revenue. But this is a werewolf movie. So a werewolf movie, not unlike a vampire film, should be an R-rated film. It's supposed to be a bloody mess. So you feel like, no pun intended, neutered this werewolf film. And the second part is like the special effects, because the special effects on these werewolves are terrible. Not the worst I've probably ever seen, but honestly, if like the Van Helsing film starring Hugh Jackman does better job with displaying a werewolf than this film. Now, granted, Van Helsing came out much later, but still, though, it's like you skipping on the budget because you had like people who wanted to make probably some awesome prosthetics and proper gizmos to make something visible, tangible for the actors to act off of. And it's like, because they fired the a veteran makeup artist Rick Baker, and to go with computer generated werewolves, which was like a huge mistake. It was like this movie was cursed from the jump. But there was a petition going around like, what was it, 2018? Yeah, it's like October 30th of 2018. There was this hashtag release the Craven cut of this film because it was so re-edited so many times to water it down to a PG-13. People wanted, to get that hashtag release the Raven cut, trending, but it didn't really pick up much steam, unfortunately. Partly because the final shot of the film wasn't finished or something. Or was never. The original cut of the film was, due to the ending never being shot. It's like, this couldn't really do anything about it. But I'm thinking, how much of the end are you talking about? The complete third act or just the last 15 minutes of the film? Because if it was just the last 15 minutes of the film, you could have just kept that or something from what we got from the theater or something. I'm not sure. But if there was like a cut, man, I really wish it was released, because that have been, just like with the Daredevil director's cut, it would have made this movie probably a lot better, for the audience than it turned out to be. But also, there's a lot, people lost track of who owns this film after a certain point, due to various Miramax properties reverting to other companies. People don't know who owns the, this movie anymore. So a little tidbit about the backstory of this film, which is a shame, because I'm pretty sure there's people out there who actually genuinely like this film. There's good stuff about it, but I'm not going to disagree. The CGI is probably the werewolves is probably my biggest problem. Everything else I pretty much can let slide. Well, the R rating, the blood, and the CGI of the wolves are the biggest issues here. Let's just be honest about that. But everything else around it, I can find some enjoyment out of it, as I imagine any of you would if you just set certain biases aside and actually sit down with this film. But anyway, like I said, it stars Christina Ricci as Ellie Myers. Jesse Eisenberg plays her younger brother Jimmy. You got Joshua Jackson as Jake Taylor, Ellie's on again, off again boyfriend. Judy Greer as Joni, one of the co-workers of Ellie. Milo Ventimiglia as Bo, a fellow high schooler of Jimmy's, who is a bully. Christina Anapo as Brooke. Portia D. Rossi as Zella. Shannon Elizabeth as Becky Morton. We got the singer Maya as Jenny Tate. A lot of these people are so young in this. Michael Rosenbaum as Kyle, another co-worker of Ellie's, who obviously has the thing for her. Eric Layden as Louie. Nick Offerman as just a police officer. It's just that one scene he has. I think it's one of his earliest films when he's trying to start into breaking into the industry. And he lost a bit of weight when we were first truly introduced to him as his character in Parks and Recreation. Uh, so the movie opens, which I can't help but think about the Lost Boys, how it opens with these kids, well, you get that kind of weird opening just to introduce like how hardcore the monster is gonna be throughout the. It really sets the tone for the rest of the film. How hardcore this monster is gonna be. These two girls, uh, 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 Brooke and Jenny, goes to visits this carnival, and one of the people there is like a fortune teller, Zella, who warns their future is very bleak and bloody, so beware, the beast under the full moon. And this kind of annoys me when it comes to like fortune tellers or psychics and these type of properties trying to warn like ne'er-do-well people of a monster attack. And it's like, just freaking say it. Why you gotta be cryptic? It's needlessly cryptic. Just say like look out, bitch. A freaking animal's gonna attack you. Don't go out during the full moon. Stay home or stay inside or wait till like get a ride home or something like that. It's like, travel among people, like, something or other, or get a ride from a police officer, something or other. It's just like like why you gotta be super cryptic? I know you're trying to set something up, but it's just like needlessly cryptic. Look out, bitch! A werewolf's gonna attack. But then we meet our main leads, Jimmy and Ellie, who we meet Jimmy, who has like a crush on this girl that goes to the school, but he gets constantly picked on by her supposed boyfriend or whatever. So Ellie comes to pick him up after we set the stage between the relationship between her and Jake, and him setting up for his like museum or of horror or something like that he was doing, because we see a lot of Wes Craven isms in the background, like Pinhead and not Pinhead. Was it Pinhead? Is his name? Whoever the Hellraiser guy is, that was Pinhead. And Freddy Krueger, you get to see like the Wes Craven isms in certain shots. And then there's like the wing of the Wolfman, and it's like you see a lot of shots being taken in this particular room, and it's like not so foreshadowing, or at least how far werewolves have come between what we saw from like the Bela Lugosi era in film, going all the way to at least at this point in time of movie in 2005. But even from then to now, werewolves have definitely have evolved in cinema over time. And honestly, I still consider, at least Van Helsing, the 2010 Wolfman, and Underworld. It's probably those particular movies, in my opinion, have done a better job displaying werewolves in not only terrifying, but I want to say grounded, but you know what I mean? It's like not schlocky. That you feel like they're, for the most part, really there. Especially the 2010 Wolfman. It's like, that's probably my favorite, display of what the Wolfman looks like, while others would be like werewolves. There's like Wolf Man. It's like a distinct, like a kind of like a slight difference there. But those are like my favorite films that display werewolves like, quote unquote properly, that stays true to the origins of this creature. And my personal take, I think supernatural creatures like vampires and werewolves actually exist or existed at one point or another. Personally, I think vampires definitely probably still exist, just, recluse for the most part. And that's how I personally feel. That's just my take. I think legit do think they exist. If we got freaking ghosts, I'm pretty sure it's not too far-fetched other supernatural entities exist out there in the world. It's like demon possessions and everything like that. There's things out there that go bump in the night that actually freaking exist. They just ain't, overwhelms the society to the point where it's kind of like concrete, at least for the most part of society. But we kind of like, yeah, that's, probably likely at the most part. Rather than years ago, people will call you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to even suggest such a thing. But anyway, while Jimmy and Ellie are are riding home because they lost their parents years ago, so they kind of grew up taking care of each other and things of that things of that sort. Ellie works at this news station, so on the way home they collided with some kind of animal. And I like you get like a brief glimpse. You blink and you miss it as the camera pans to like the front of the car, and you see on the windshield like something crawling on top of them. It's like very quick, but I kind of like that, kind of like kind of like the Jaws effect almost, where you for at least a little while you only see glimpses of, not the whole entire thing yet, but end up colliding in one of the girls' car that was trying to drive home. What was it? Brooke. Or was it Brooke or Ellie? No. Brooke is the girl that Jimmy likes. Becky. While Ellie and Jimmy try to rescue her from under, because her car tipped over, they try to rescue her, but she gets snatched up by the werewolf. And in the result, Jimmy and Ellie get scratched, and Becky is killed. The cops come. Nick Offerman questions them, and Jimmy fully believes that he saw like a massive creature that the cops just write off as a bear or a cougar, and Ellie just don't want to admit, or just kind of like is in complete denial of what she probably saw. Because I get it. It's like you don't want your brain to immediately leap to, yeah, I saw a legit supernatural creature that I probably only saw in movies throughout my life in real time. So, of course, you do not want to sit there and because you probably snap. Or because I'm not sure your reality can handle that shattering, result that it will have to come to some kind of realization conclusion about. But in the next day or two, Ellie and Jimmy started noticing certain changes about themselves. Like Ellie starting to, from literally 3 office rooms away, a coworker of hers, dealing with a nosebleed that she smelled from her office all the way to, don't know why she doesn't do it in the freaking bathroom, but she's in like the cafeteria area over the sink trying to nurse that thing, and she literally like smelt it, that far away, and she enjoyed the smell of it. She thought she's like, oh, that smells so good, and it's like the scent of blood is driving that. You um, and we see like Jimmy just like scarfing down um slices of meat out of the refrigerator, even salting it, and just like I'm pretty sure it's kind of like ham or turkey slices or something like that. But he just you know gotta taste the meat, and he knows that his dog is like frightened of both of them. He barely interacts with them, knowing their pet, knowing what something's off with them, and knowing that they're different just right off of the bat, and just cringing, and at the sight of them, to the point where the dog bit Jimmy, and eventually that dog starts to turn after a certain point. Jimmy is like a lot more confident dealing with the bully, and during during gym time, during like a wrestling thing, he deals with Bo and a couple of his friends. They try to wrestle him down, to the ground, and he's able to overpower each one of them, which astonishes everybody because he's like a scrawny kid. You can't believe this guy, got the role of Lex Luthor. That is freaking bizarre to me. Whatever. I don't want to go from a tangent with that, but it's just bizarre. But and also weird fact that being werewolves, they release some type of pheromone that you just can't help but be attracted to. Like when Ellie goes to this rooftop party where she's meeting up with Jeg and trying to have a solid conversation about where their relationship at, blah 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 blah. Nobody really cares. But clearly he has like a reputation of being like a ladies' man, because all a lot of girls sit there crowding around him, including, I was gonna call her Maya. I'm not gonna remember her freaking name. Maya, Judy Greer, and a couple other girls. While she's trying to talk with Scott Baio for a potential networking situation, and Scott Baio's like, getting like a full whiff of her pheromones as soon as because Christina Ricci is like the, queen of Halloween at this point. Matter of fact, she might as well be, considering that if Mariah Carey is like the queen of Christmas, she should be the queen of Halloween. Matter of fact, every October 1st, she should do a thing to break the internet just like her, in order to get people really prepared for Halloween every year. Like, do her version of, waking up like Mariah Carey does. It's like just October 1st hits, and she goes on, she cuts off her alarm clock and just does, I'm pretty sure she doesn't really sing all that much, but try to do like some kind of note, it's time, and then transitions into a Halloween costume, and just like get everybody prepared, like it's Halloween. It's like just bring in the season. She should do that, honestly. But anyway, she leaves the party annoyed with her on again, off again boyfriend. And as she leaves, Maya, soon comes out of the elevator and gets attacked and killed by this obvious werewolf. Which, shockingly, her body isn't discovered until later on that day. It's like she was, she died on the elevator. I'm shocked that it isn't immediately discovered right away. It's kind of weird to me. That always bothered me. It's like, you mean to tell me her body isn't discovered almost within the next 30 minutes, if not 10? because people have to leave at a certain point, and cops should be called. Maybe because when the whole announcement doesn't happen until later on that day, but it should be like immediate. At least the news outlets should be reporting this like at least within like the hour or two, not the full on next day. Anyway, um, uh, Jimmy is trying to figure out like who is this werewolf could be, because trying to figure out a possible cure. Now, of course, ironically or coincidentally, Ellie bumps into the Zella woman. Trying to, I guess her boss is trying to set up some kind of segment with the local psychics of LA or something. Not sure. And then she immediately stops Ellie and warns her about like the beast, and you gotta destroy the heart and take off the head in order to end your curse, by killing the one that cursed you, like the top dog essentially. And it's like, once again, why don't you be more blatant and direct? I mean, she was direct, but it's like being cryptic again is kind of annoying. You're supposed to be psychic. You can be a little bit more detailed about it. Anyway, uh, things take a turn when Jake confronts Ellie and admits that he is a werewolf because he has the mark of the beast. There's like these dots that if you connect them turns into like a pentagram. And he mentions to her that he was born a werewolf and he learned how to control his changes, but he wasn't the one responsible for all the recent attacks. But she managed to push him off and drive straight to at first trying to drive home where her brother is, who was confronted by Bo, who admits that throughout those gay jokes he was given to him, where Jimmy kind of calls him out on it earlier. It's like, with all those gay jokes, are you sure you're not hiding anything? And he confronts them saying like, yeah, like he admits like his homosexuality, and then he had a thing for Jimmy. Jimmy says like, you don't really have a thing for me. It's just the pheromones that I'm giving off of, man. It's like, you don't really have a thing for me, not really. Even though like, yeah, he's probably homosexual, but it's like he probably doesn't have a thing for him. It's just like he's just attracted to the pheromone. But they end up running away after Jimmy's dog wolfs out, and they hop into Bo's car in order to like quickly drive away and meet up with Ellie at the Jake's party, who Jimmy tries to confide into about the situation because Ellie refused to believe him, which causes Jake to confront Ellie and confess about what he is. So they all convene at the party, where after another beast attack, everybody's running out the place, and crazy how long it takes for the cops to show up. But it turns out that Judy Greer is the werewolf that did all the killings. That she had a one night stand with Jake a long while ago and caused her to get infected and cursed. Now, I didn't realize this once I rewatched this. It's like, does a werewolf semen getting inside a woman will result in uh infection of the curse, or maybe they just had like some really rough sex, because it didn't really, you know, hint at any type of unprotected sex. So I would have to assume it was just, kind of very animalistic type of sexual connection where, the transformation, or at least like the transferring of the curse occurred. But she fully embraces it and she wants him all to herself. So she's been getting rid of all these competitions, like those two women who were all over Jake, and then also by assessing Ellie, who she had already had like a rival with at work, but on top of all that, trying to feel like she's taking like Jake away from her, so she's getting rid of the competition essentially. Jimmy and Ellie try to fire off, but she, the cops eventually show up, and with this weird, awkward moment that it's like, why go with that choice? I guess he thought it was being funny, but Judy Greer werewolf, jumps out after being insulted, falling for being insulted by her appearance, because I guess she was that vain. Pops out to flip off everybody, to allow the cops to shoot her down and kill her. And then she ends up reverting back to her normal form upon death. And it's like, the entire thing was very awkward. They think like, okay, the whole situation over. They thought like, okay, Judy Greer was the main one who probably cursed them, so that's it. And when I get home, Jake's there. Jake show up, and it's like he is the alpha, because even though Judy Greer werewolf cursed them, he was the one who cursed her. So by step, he's the one that has to be taken out in order to get rid of the curse, because they still are going through the change. And Jake, who's really in love with Ellie, says like, "Oh, we can be together, but I'm gonna have to kill your brother because he needs to be, because like a pack of dogs or a pack of wolves, or even like a lion's pride, there has to be an alpha male. There can't be like, any potential competition. So he has to off the brother. So the brother and sister team up to take this guy down. Jake ends up biting Jake from behind, given the opening that Ellie needs to grab one of the silver cake servers that they own, the only silver they have in the house, and stabs Jake in the heart, giving Ellie a moment to get a shovel to decapitate him, which cures them of the curse. And the movie ends with Jimmy going out officially with Brooke, leaving Ellie home to clean up the mess. And I feel so bad for like the Michael Rosenbaum's character, because he gets killed by Judy Greer werewolf, in that party. It's just like, but also still in a kind of cool display, I gotta admit, where she literally hiding in like the rafters or something, and like just silently just snatches him up from by the head, while everybody's backs were turned. Uh, that was kind of a cool kill. Probably one of the coolest kills out of the entire film. But that was pretty much Cursed. Uh, I have a soft spot for it, but it is not good. I can see why it didn't do so well in the box office. Maybe it would have helped if they wasn't like trying to re-edit to make it a PG-13 rating, because it just really boggles the mind to a lot of people that things that it should be obvious it should be R-rated isn't made to be R-rated, because it would have helped a great deal for the said film. Like, a vampire movie, uh, uh, and a werewolf movie should obviously be R-rated, considering they're savage animals at the end of the day. Something like The Mummy can get away with making it PG-13 or R-rated. You can go, both ways with it. That's how I feel about like Venom and Morbius. Despite how a lot of people feel about that film, I think it would have helped greatly with most audience if they would just embrace the fact that you're making a movie about normally villains, and villains kill a lot of people, sometimes very savagely. So yes, they should be R-rated. Trying to water it down to PG-13 rating just to make sure everybody comes to see this film so you can get the most out of money you can for ticket sales, it kind of like it will affect the film negatively in the long run, because you're trying to think about short-term gains. But anyway, yeah. Wes Craven wasn't too happy about this film, and I can understand why, because this is something that he, at the end of the day, was satisfied with, but his bosses had like a particular mandate, and he had to adhere to. Even though he was Wes Craven, the most well-known horror director of all time, he didn't have that kind of carte blanche to just do whatever, and nobody can give him any kind of no's from on top. Not the same way like Kevin Feige or Christopher Nolan, like certain people in this industry, they get like, or Steven Spielberg. It's like Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg are like so high up in terms of famous directors that brought out more hits than wins throughout their career. They, as soon as they put out something like, I got an idea for this, they automatically get the green ahead, because they have proven track records more so than failings. And Wes Craven, by and large, still is a well-known director in terms of the horror genre, and even by 2005, still was critically acclaimed, and everybody knew his name, knew of his work, fans of his work. And to not allow a werewolf movie that he directs to not be rated R the way he envisions it is a crime. And it's just, hey, it's karma for the Miramax team. I gotta say that. But I kind of wish we had some kind of Wes Craven cut of this film, because I imagine it will do way better than what was given to us. It's a shame, but here's what it is. But that was my thoughts on the movie Cursed. If you guys seen it as of late, let me know what you guys think. Do you have a different take on it? Do you actually have some kind of charming accolades you want to give about this film? Please let me know. And I'll see you guys in a little bit as I cover the final film for this week, Coraline. So I look forward to talking about it. Take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.